Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to the Best People We Know radio show. This is where you'll meet experts and celebrities who share their success secrets with you to help you be your most successful best too. Your host, Deb Scott, is a certified professional coach at Discover the Amazing You Coaching and author of the award-winning motivational book, The Sky is Green and the Grass is Blue, turning your upside-down world right side up. The Best People We Know radio show brings you powerful resources, effective ideas, and transformational tools you can use to educate, inspire, and motivate you to be your most purposeful, peaceful, happy best. So get ready to experience mind vitamins to feed your whole soul. Good change is about to happen. The Best People We Know radio show. Here's your host, Deb Scott.
Well, good morning to all the best people I know out there. This is a Joy Train Global Group Hug, and you're going to know more about that if you're not part of the Joy Train. When you meet Kari Joys, she is an amazing person. She is a psychotherapist. She is just doing fabulous things. At the end of this show, you're going to have more joy in your life, so I'm really excited that you tuned in. You know, there's going to be too much information to cover in 30 or 40 minutes, so I'm going to send you to Kari, Kari-Joys.com, Kari-Joys.com, and the hashtag Joy Train that she and Rock Christopher created, which is all filled with joy. You got to check that out on Twitter too. And I just want to remind you that all of our guests, we get a great listing for you every month, so I hope you'll stop by my website, debscott.com. That's pretty easy, debscott.com, and sign up for the monthly Mind Vitamin News on the right-hand side. And if you have a Blog Talk Radio page, of course you can just hit the blue button at the bottom of our logo icon, and then you'll get updates when we have our show live. This woman is the real deal, and I am so excited and honored that she's sharing her joy with us today, because that is what she does. She's a best-selling author of the book, Who Stole Your Joy? Finding Your Way Back Home, and also an amazing book, Finding Joy Around the World, Real-Life Stories of Discovering Happiness, Inner Peace, and Joy. This is another bestseller that she's written. She's founder and director of the Center for Creative Change in Spokane, Washington. She's been featured on ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, you name it, she's been there. She's extremely highly respected and a recognized counselor and psychotherapist. She's a skilled group facilitator, and she's a powerful energy therapist. She's been in private practice for 30 years, and she's helped thousands of people like you and me around the world to receive some genuine healing that really lasts. She has a master's in counseling, and she studied in Eastern Washington University. She's been a long-term member of the American Counseling Association. She's also a Reiki master teacher. She's a certified Yuen method wellness practitioner. She'll tell us more about that. And, of course, as I said, she's created the Joy Train. That's the hashtag Joy Train with Rock Christopher to help spread more joy around the world. And you can visit joytrain.webs.com to find more about that. But, wow, I'm all excited. Welcome, Kari, for sharing your shine with us. You're the best. You're in the Best People We Know Club.
Thank you so much, Deb. I'm so honored to be in the Best People We Know Club.
Oh, my goodness.
You're the first one there, you know.
We'll do Joy Train, Best People, you know, it's all together. It's just there's more than enough sunshine to get the love, right? I love what you're doing in the world. You've got so many creative actions to take to help us. You know, I can have a picture in my house, and it can be a great picture. But if I get an amazing frame to put that picture in, suddenly all of the best of that photo is available. It's highlighted, it's more beautiful, it's more enjoyable, and that's what you do. I think that you reframe things in life so that everything looks more beautiful, more positive, and not in a Pollyanna way. So I would love for you to start out by telling the listeners, you know, what is joy and happiness, and is there a difference? Because I want the people here today at the end of this show to know that they can have more genuine joy in their life.
Great. Well, I believe that joy is just feeling good inside no matter what is going on around you. And it is different than happiness because happiness is generally associated with outer things in your life, like being happy that something good happened in your life. But joy is just enjoying the flow of life, the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows, and enjoying and appreciating all of it.
So, I think that people tend to typically say, "Oh, I just want to be happy." If you're anywhere, everybody wants happy. Everybody wants a solution to get rid of their pain real quick. And I think that we tend to misrepresent the difference between happiness and joy. So the happiness could be on the external circumstances, but the joy is that within, that's free from the external.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
And towards that end, because you do help us see with those new glasses to get that vision of where our joy is in our life. You talk a lot about why it's important for people to find out about it. And I know you've done some groups. I know that LinkedIn is another specialty place that you're everywhere at. Talk about why it's important for people to find joy, and then how this book came about. And then we'll go into some of the ways that people can connect with this, because you're doing some amazing, you're really a great change agent.
Oh, thank you so much, Deb. You're so kind. Well, why is it important to find joy? I think that if without joy, life is meaningless. It's empty and flat. But when you bring joy into it, everything becomes fun and interesting and fascinating, really. So I think that so many people have lost their joy in the process of life. They've gone through lots of negative experiences. In fact, all of us have gone through a lot of negative experiences. And in that process, we shut off our hearts a little bit at a time. And so over time, we get more and more shut off until we feel flat and numb, and we don't know what's wrong. We don't know why it's so hard to come back to joy. So I wrote the book because I want people everywhere to know that joy is always available, that it's always still inside of us if we're willing to do a little bit of cleanup work to come back to the natural joy inside.
Yeah, and, I really do think that most people feel like, I think as you get older, you kind of wonder, where did that, life happens, and where did that go, and am I the only one, and how can I be happy and want what I have? How can I still make my dreams come true? How can I live on purpose? All of these things, I think that this is sort of a universal, global question, and I see that the social media really supports that, but the book talks about the before and the after. So what is the book doing to help people, and why did you do it? And I tell you what, it is the most beautiful illustration. Everybody, if you love eye candy and you're a visual learner like me, oh my God, delicious, absolutely. It's like looking at the pictures and reading the words is like a vacation. I mean, I feel like I'm getting radiated with joy just looking at the images in the book. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, we really need to talk about Joanna Kiriakou, who's my artist, because she did such an unbelievable job with these images and drawings. They're breathtaking. They really are just breathtaking. And every time I'd see them, I practically cried when she was illustrating the book. I wrote the words first, and I sent her the words. She lives in Greece, so we're across the world from each other. But I sent her the poetry of the book and asked her to illustrate it, and she took it page by page and created these amazing illustrations. And what they do is they take you past your mind. We tend to live so much in our minds, and we don't know what's wrong because we're so much in our heads that we can't find our hearts anymore. But this book, because of Joanna's incredible artistic, talent, it takes you past your mind and into your heart, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. So she made it possible.
As a therapist, she is amazing, and she's from Greece, right? Is that true? She's from Greece.
She's from Greece. Yeah, from Thessalonica. Yeah.
I tell you what, people. Kari knows everybody. You just like you are a global group hug in living color. As a psychotherapist, you've done so much work and research and so many different publications, and I know that you're considered. I guess we could call you the joy specialist. At least that's what you are in the LinkedIn group. We'll talk about that too. But let's get into the stuff that nobody wants to talk about, but everybody needs to know. What are those simple steps that we can do to have the audience that it's listening today say, okay, I'm gonna go through this exercise with Kari, and I'm going to know that I have the joy, because psychologically there are certain issues and there are certain scientific studies that prove what can help us transform, and that's your specialty. So that's a lot of information I just gave you. So take it unwrap it any way you would like.
Okay. Well, some simple joy skills. Let's start with that. The simple joy skills that anybody can use right now, wherever you are and whatever's going on with you today. You can start with gratitude. Just first of all, I should have started, I guess, with being in the moment that we're in right now. Just be in this moment wherever you are right now, and take a big deep breath and just appreciate what's around you right now. Just appreciate your environment, appreciate whatever is going on in your life right now that you love and that you enjoy. So gratitude is a huge start in the right direction. Just being grateful, being in the moment and really being grateful for whatever matters to us in our lives. And then empathy and kindness to others is a wonderful joy skill. When we put ourselves in each other's shoes and we really try to give from our hearts to another person through kindness, it not only makes them feel good, but it makes us feel good. And so that's a wonderful joy skill. Another one that we can use is to forgive ourselves every day. I tell my clients to forgive yourselves every night and start fresh every day. And that means forgive yourself for all your past mistakes, because we've all done lots of stupid things in our lives, and we've all
I thought it was just me. Seriously? Oh, my God, you too? Oh, friendship has been born. It's like I'm eating humble pie every single day. I make more mistakes. It's like, okay, I'm just used to that.
Well,
oh my goodness.
It's amazing. It's amazing how many people just carry their guilt around, like a bag of bricks on their back, and then they never feel worthy of love or joy. So you can't have joy when you're doing that. So you have to forgive yourself. Realize that none of us were taught joy skills growing up, and so we do the best we can, and all we can do is forgive ourselves for our mistakes and try to learn from them and do better next time, and just start fresh every morning. So that's a big one. And then practice seeing your everyday problems as challenges that can be overcome instead of thinking that they're hopeless and insurmountable. Just ask yourself, what could I do that might change this issue in my life in just some small way today? And one of my favorites is to ask my angels for help with whatever that problem is. Ask my angels, to help me today to overcome whatever this challenge or problem is. But one of the most important of all is loving ourselves unconditionally. Really appreciating who we are and appreciating the gifts that we do bring to the world, because in spite of our weaknesses and in spite of being human and making mistakes, we also are a gift to the world in our own way. So really loving and appreciating that gift that we are.
Just a few. My gosh, that's like worth the admission to the show. I have to keep track of them all. I was trying to type them, and I'm trying to tweet them out and put them on Facebook. It's like, oh my goodness. I love that first step of the gratitude and doing that first. And I think that look at here in Boston, where I am right now. We just had the anniversary of the Boston bombing, and there was just there was such. It's been all over TV. You know, the big ceremonies and the forgiveness and the prayers and the coming together, and thinking about the people that had passed away, and you know, seeing that really made me grateful for just being in this moment and being grateful for those people that care so much, and being grateful. Look at the people that have survived. You know, if I have a bad day, the woman just lost her leg in the Boston bombing. Hello, I mean, seriously. And if she can be happy, what am I complaining about when I'm up and, you know, I'm going to complain about going up and down the stairs too much to clean the house? Come on. You know, I think that when we put it in perspective like that, and as you said, get that empathy for somebody else that's suffering, somebody else that's just lost a loved one, somebody else that's, you know, just whatever it is. And it really is a cascade of getting towards that, forgiving yourself, learning the lessons. You're not alone. And just listening to you is therapeutic for me. You know, I'm feeling the healing just as you're describing all these things. You know, which I guess gets back to you are the joy specialist. What does this do for us once we can have this awareness? Is there? I guess my question to you is in getting your joy back in the book and in the work you do and what you're doing on Joy Train and what you're doing in the Joy Specialist group on LinkedIn and what you're doing with Rob Christopher, which we're going to talk about too. What do you find that there is a necessary ABC? In other words, do you have to have the gratitude before you can have the empathy? Do you have to have the awareness before you can have the acceptance to create the new action to then have that experience? Is there, in other words, you're saying that this is stuff we can learn. Nobody is incapable of doing this skill set and getting the joy back in their life.
Nobody is incapable, but it does depend on how determined we are. You know, most of us are a little stubborn, and what I like to tell people.
No, not me.
Well,
my God. Me too.
I'm speaking for myself, Deb. But if we turn that stubbornness into persistence, it becomes a very positive quality. You know, the persistence to, you know, that is actually what brought me joy in my life. Is I was so determined that I was not a happy person as a child. I was abused verbally, physically, and sexually as a child, and I had no idea what happiness was. I actually, when I was in high school, I was valedictorian of my class, and I was asked to give a speech at graduation, and I could choose the topic that I wanted, and the topic that I chose was what makes people happy. And I was only 17 years old at the time, and I, of course, had no idea that I was going to spend my whole life on this topic. But I chose it because I had no idea what makes people happy. I was searching for, you know, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get there? How come everybody else is happy and I'm not? And so I started looking for joy and happiness. And took me many years, but I was so persistent that I just never gave up. I mean, well, the truth is I gave up 1,000 times, but I would always come back to it. I would always come back to, there's got to be a way, there's got to be a way, there's got to be a way. And I just stuck with it over the years until I finally found the solutions. And I'm not going to tell you it was easy. It wasn't. It was a huge challenge in my life, but it was worth every minute that I ever put into it, because today I'm a naturally joyful person. But, you know, years ago people used to ask me, why am I so serious? You know, why are you so serious? How come you never smile? And when I tell people that today, they laugh. They think it's funny, and they can't imagine that being true. But so I guess I'm just using myself as an example that anybody can find joy, but it takes patience and dedication and perseverance to really getting to the bottom of whatever it is that's holding you back. The things that upset us today are never the real issues. They are only, I say they act like arrows that point us back to the times in our lives where we were deeply hurt and we shut off our hearts. So you have to be willing to unravel, you know, those experiences and heal them. And then when you naturally release that pain in your life, you come back to your true self, which is joy. Your true self is naturally joyful and lighthearted. So that's a long answer to your question, Deb. But
well, I'm glad we have you recorded, because I have to listen to this again and recycle all the good stuff that you just shared. That. Thank you very much for being transparent and sharing your story. And it's just always amazing to me, especially with guests with a radio show. The people that are really making a difference in the world have embraced their own struggles and then taken that personal experience in their quest, as you say, for the persistence to solve the problem. And in solving the problem for yourself, you've shared that solution with people like me or anybody. And I think that it's easier to be persistent when you're around people that are encouraging you, that say, I get it. I want that too, and I know that that's possible. And is that why you created that group of the Joy Train? Is that why you created the group on LinkedIn of Joy Specialist? I mean, tell people about that, because I think it's easier when you're holding hands with a big group to move, because it really is contagious, and it makes it so much easier to know that you have a committed cohort of people that are joining you.
Oh, absolutely. Having a support system of other people that understand and really get it, like you said, and are choosing joy themselves makes a huge difference in your life. And actually, when I first got on Twitter, what drew me to Twitter was all of the inspiring tweets and quotes that people were sending around, and I just really got inspired myself, and then I started sharing them with other people, and it just grew. And as you know, when I wrote my book, Finding Joy Around the World, which you are in.
Just a little. Yes, I'm just so honored and humbled to tell you. Thank you for mentioning, yes. And we met on Twitter, so there you go.
Yeah, there we absolutely did, and you agreed to be in my book and with your beautiful story. And that's also how I met Rock Christopher, who is also in that book. And Rock and I got to talking and came up with the idea of the Joy Train, where people share joy. Actually, it's love, peace, and joy around the world, and can share tweets and messages or share books or products that they've created for helping people find their joy. So we've just had a whole lot of fun doing it, and it's kind of grown so fast that we can't keep up with it. The Joy Train is taking off, and we have to run to keep up with it.
Yes, and I think that you're being very humble, because I would love for you to let listeners know how successful this is, and I love it, and I participate every Tuesday, and I know through the week you can always check the hashtag. Tell people how many people that you've reached. I mean, you have the statistics, and I'd love for you to share that, because it's absolutely mind-blowing.
I am really sorry, but I don't. I know that we reach a couple million accounts usually every Tuesday, but I can't remember the total number. I think it was like 14. No, it was more than that. I know it was a huge number, so big that it's hard to even conceive of millions of accounts all over the world, and people are joining us from 80 different countries around the world, spreading the tweets of joy and love and peace, which it's amazing. It's incredible. And it's fun.
I think that you got the statistics pretty good there. Just like a couple million on the day. And, the 80 countries, I am just overwhelmed by that. And to me, the connectedness and how many great people I've met through you on that Joy Train, and everybody else connecting, 80 countries. I mean, what does that say about the work that you're doing? And Rock Christopher is amazing. Really, you guys have full-time jobs, but you would think that you're just a social media specialist. I don't know how you do it, and you've got the website and all that. So, I encourage everybody to not only get the book that you have, Who Stole Your Joy, but to visit you on the Joy Train. And what's the website for the Joy Train? It's I said it earlier in the show.
It's actually joytrain.org. O-R-G.
Okay.
And
O-R-G.
ORG, joytrain.org. It's just that's it, joytrain.org.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a how-to page if you want to learn how to join us on Twitter. But it's just a lot of fun. We're going to do a lot more with it over time. Rock's got amazing ideas, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it. But we just started it really a couple months ago, and it's just gone like wildfire.
Viral.
So.
Yeah, viral, crazy viral.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a testimony to people who are really starving for authenticity, because you and Rock have created a real safe place where people are authentic, giving, and caring. And it's just amazing to me. I think, I guess every now and then you're going to have a spammer, get in there because it's Twitter and you got a couple million people going in there. But for the most part, people are really retweeting, sharing, and they're just solid people who are dedicated and believe in the cause. And that is refreshing for me, to be connected and part of it. So I'm speaking for myself that, you've really, I have to thank God for you and Rock and all the other people. And if you wanted to call in, that would be great. But, really, I have been so blessed by this. So, when you're dealing with people in these deeper issues, when you're working with somebody in therapy, and you're telling them about the things that they need to do, and you're listening to them, what is it that you give them to help believing that the healing is happening? Do you think that, I guess the question would be better phrased, if everyone can experience joy, maybe people, and especially in Who Stole Your Joy, maybe you don't even realize that you do have joy right now. And I think that feeling of marinating maybe in that misery for too long, we forget how far we've come, is part of what you do, helping people to recognize when they have made that progress, when they have made those changes. Do you think that it's a subtle shift?
Well, actually, the most profound and long-lasting process that I use in psychotherapy is a process of emotional healing that I've actually developed myself. I've learned a lot of different therapies over the years, so it's a kind of a combination of a whole lot of different therapies. But when we do that process, I work much more, first of all, with the emotional body, and then I go to the intellectual, because when people are broken emotionally, you can feed them all the knowledge in the world, and they wish they could do it, but they just can't. But when you guide them through a natural healing process of healing their emotions from the experiences in their lives that really hurt them, they come back to joy naturally. So I don't have to tell them that they've made progress, because they can feel it. They know it immediately. I mean, it happens. It generally happens in every session, actually. When you're working on finding your joy, it's true that you have to keep working on it over time. But usually, every time you work on it, you come back to feeling joy inside. So you have you have challenges as you're working through it, but that joy starts to grow naturally as you come back more and more to your true, authentic self. And it's just such a beautiful experience. It's truly awe-inspiring to me every time it happens in therapy, even though I've been doing it all these years.
Hey, listen, that tells you, Mother Teresa never said, I'm having a bad day with these lepers, I have to go on vacation to Hawaii, right? She did what she did because she loved it, and that's what God designed her to do. And I think that what you just said is great for all of us, because it's like, you know what? If you're doing what God created you to do, if you're living your purpose, you're not going to be tired. You're going to be energized. And that's a big recognition that I think is important to punctuate too, right?
Right. I was just telling one of my clients yesterday, when I go on vacation, I love to go on vacation because it's fun to do new adventures and see new places. But when I go on vacation, I always miss my work. So I'm always happy when I come back.
I would say that just was like exclamation point to Deb's comment. Yes, I love that. And I have to to do the metaphor and the analogy with you and Mother Teresa because you're both, spreading love. And I want to thank everybody for being in the chat room and everybody on Twitter. Just tell a little bit. I'd like to just dig a little bit more and unpackage this program that you've created or this technique with the emotional healing and talking about how you do that emotionally and then intellectually. And, oh, my God, there's Rock Christopher. Look at him. Hello, Kari and Deb. I'm looking forward. I'm so excited about Kari's new book, Who Stole Your Joy. It's a priceless masterpiece combining the gorgeous hand-painted, vibrant collection of Joanna's displayed on each page and the profound, insightful message of healing and hope by Kari. Oh, Rock, we love you.
Oh.
I'm telling you, he's amazing. He's like an entire company in himself of happiness and joy and social media success. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's amazing.
So I just wanted to read that comment there. All right, but let's talk about your technique that you've created and give us an example. You can use me if you want because God knows I would be open and receptive to anything that you have to share.
Well, I would hate to put you on the spot, because, and we probably don't have enough time. But it's you start with getting in touch with what's bothering you right now, like something that's bothering you in your life right now, and you ask yourself, what am I feeling when I think about that? What do I feel? And then if I could take that feeling and tell the person that I'm most upset with today, and we're not going to actually do that. Because this is just a process of you getting to know yourself, and I'm not going to make you do it, Deb. Because
all right, well we'll do that. That's for another day, people, and we can all sign up to Kari's newsletters, get her book, and if we need her as our psychotherapist, we can always do that. But still, you're giving us a flavor for how this goes, and I appreciate that.
Right, but then once you get in touch with what it is you really want to say, the deepest thing that you really want to say to the person in the present, like maybe you just feel hurt and rejected and unloved with them, then you ask yourself, where did I feel that as a child? Where did I feel hurt and unloved and rejected as a child? And who was that with? And what did I need to say to that person that I was never able to say? And you can journal it if journaling is a wonderful way. There's actually a blog post on my website at kari-joys.com that's about journaling, how to journal your feelings. And if you write, what you wish you could have said back then to the person who really hurt you in the past, you will many times feel a big relief when you said it and actually feel lighter and more joyful just as a result of doing that. So it's a process of starting with today, but then letting it guide you back through time to where you felt that in the past, because the issue today is never the real issue. It's simply an arrow that's pointing you back to where you shut off your heart.
But, Kari, even that awareness, today if there was one takeaway, I think that could be right there a gold nugget, because in the moment, I know for myself, sometimes you just think, well, I cut my finger, that's the problem. But you feel that but if it gets infected, it goes through your entire body, so there might be another symptom, or there's something inside that needs to be healed. It's the symptom of today which triggering it. But what you're saying is, look, we just don't want to get a Band-Aid on this. We want to get to the root, dig that out.
Exactly right, Deb.
Right, and then you won't have the problem. It's like that quote, and I don't know who said it. It might be Padre Pio, but salt only hurts on an open wound. So what you do is you heal wounds so that when people throw salt at you, it doesn't hurt. It's like,
exactly.
I think that in the moment, what we all want is, stop throwing salt at me. You people, stop annoying me. If you just did this, if you just did that, you salt throwers, instead of saying, I want you to stop throwing salt, what we need to do is work with you and say, I want to heal the wound. And then when people throw the salt at me, it won't hurt. That's a heck of a lot better for the long-term joy that we seek, right?
Absolutely. You're exactly right. Yeah, it's our job. When people push our buttons in the present, we want to change them so that we'll feel better. And that doesn't ever work. What we need to do is heal our own buttons so that there are no buttons there for them to push. And when we do that, other people do whatever they do, but it doesn't affect us anymore. We simply see what they're doing and realize that people who are trying to hurt you are generally hurting themselves, and they're trying to hurt you to release their own pain. And obviously, that's not a good practice. But once you heal your own pain, you can see that, and you don't have to let it affect you in the way that it used to.
And that really is an amazing transformation. I know for myself, just trying to, deal with myself is a full-time job, so working to change other people is probably not going to be successful. But the more that we can focus on ourselves, because there you are, wherever you go. So I love that you really help people get to that core. And I think that, your books, Who Stole Your Joy, this is why they're bestsellers, because people are connecting and saying, yes, Kari gets it. I get it. I'm part of it. And then all these other things that are happening, they just reinforce. It's like keeping that garden of your life weeded. And I think that all these places that you've created between the book, between your psychotherapy practice, between, the Joy Train, and then the Joy Specialist group you have on LinkedIn, and all the other things you're doing, people are really supporting this and believing in you, and there's a reason. People really want this, and they want that healing. And, it's amazing to me how much work it is to be miserable. So if we're going to spend the time and the energy, let's get something out of it. And that's what, you're such an advocate and such a perfect billboard for saying, you know what? Life is really good. And you're awesome. And this is how we need to shift our focus, and then everything else will follow. It really is amazing to me how many people, do you sometimes think, my God, this is just, I can't even believe how viral this has gone?
I do. It's gone completely out of my control. But of course, we're not in control.
We're not in control. My life is none of my business. How about anybody else out there? Have you noticed? Oh, good God.
Right.
I tell you, it's I do want to ask you something, and I know we're coming to the end of the show, but I do want to ask you something because, people ask, I think, a lot about, well, how do you feel about medications? Do you think that, where's that line with the psychological issues for the medication versus, the cognitive therapy and those types of things? Could you talk to the listeners about that? Because there might be somebody out today saying, you know what, I get this, I want to do it, but gosh, I'm really having a hard time with something that feels like I'm stuck. I can't even move. I can't even function.
Right. Well, the first thing that I want to say about medications is if you are on medications today, do not stop them immediately. If you want to stop your medications, be sure you get help.
Right.
And I do believe that there's a place, a time and a place for medications, and there are definitely people who need them. But I think the fact that we're using them so widespread all over the world is a huge disservice to humanity, because we're not teaching people how to heal their issues naturally and giving them options for whether they want to take medications or not. And medications have dangerous side effects that can greatly damage our physical health. And I personally believe that medications often take us away from our joy because they numb us out so that we're just functioning in the world, but we can't feel our joy anymore. And I believe the fact that we prescribe them to everyone is much more about the greed of the multi-million-dollar pharmaceutical corporations who are promoting them, rather than the genuine concern for people's health and well-being. So I think there's a time and place for medications, but they're used way too freely, and we need to be teaching people that there are natural ways to overcome your issues, and there are natural, joy skills you can use to decrease your symptoms, rather than just prescribing medications to everybody, who walks into a doctor's office.
You've got Enchanted Stress or Enchant Stress in the chat room going, yes, 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 I agree with you.
Yeah. But again, I just want to say, don't go stop your medications today. Get help if you're going to do that. Make sure there's somebody that you can talk to, because it's dangerous to stop them quickly.
Well, let's take a quick call before we go. 818-222. You're on the air with Kari Joys. Where are you calling from, and what's your question? Thank you for calling.
Oh my gosh, I didn't hear your whole. I apologize. I haven't heard your whole speech. I just picked up when you were talking about medication, and I got in trouble by the computer because I wrote too many times yes. They didn't like it.
Are you the Enchanted Stress girl that was in the chat room going yes, yes, yes? Thank you so much
because
for
I totally
agree with you. Where are you calling from?
California. I'm a mystery to science.
You're a mystery to science.
Yes.
Yeah. So what's your question?
Well, okay. I learned in life that you have to know your own body better than the doctors.
Uh-huh.
But you think you begin to think they know something about you, but really you only know yourself. I have to admit, I'll have to tell you that, and I'll tell you another thing. I had no idea, a simple thing like water, that there's different kinds of water. Would you believe it? I was drinking the wrong kind.
I
found out yesterday that I should be drinking electrolyte water, not Gatorade, but electrolyte. I've been drinking bubbly water because someone said to me once, "Oh, that's good for you." So I have addictions. If someone tells me something, I have too much of it. I guess you say I'm not balanced. So I've been told, if that's what they mean by balance.
Yeah. So do you have a question about joy? We were actually talking about how to find your joy and about my book, Who Stole
What
Your
about
Joy?
people who take away your joy? Do you have children?
Well, definitely there are people who take away your joy. You might want to pick up a copy of my book, Who Stole Your Joy. You can get it on Amazon.
I know who stole my joy.
Well, in the end, no one can steal it if you really find your true joy inside. That's the important thing to know.
Really?
Is that nobody can steal it. When you really find joy inside yourself, when you learn the joy skills that we have been talking about, you may want to go back and listen to the whole show.
I think I will, because what I was going to say, my daughter steals my joy because the way she has anger issues. So when she comes home, it's like, oh my God, I can't do this, I can't do that.
Right.
So maybe there's different meanings of joy.
Well, why don't you listen to the show? And,
I'm going to.
And write me if you would like to, okay?
Are you on Facebook? I'll write you a private thing.
Okay, great.
Okay,
That'd be
thank
great.
you. All right,
yes,
bye.
and thank you so much for calling in and get back to us when you connect with Kari, because
Did you know you can get in trouble for saying?
Listen to the beginning of the show. Listen to the whole show, and you'll feel more joy.
Well, yes, I bet I will. It's just I feel joy around other people. It's just my own daughter comes into the world and she can do things like that. So,
but you're not alone. You're not alone. And Kari
I know I'm not. I'm very sensitive. I'm very sensitive, intuitive, empathic. So that happens with the case when you're like this.
Yeah.
I'll listen to you.
Thank you for calling.
You. Okay.
Thank you. And, the other thing that she mentioned, and we didn't really touch on that, but, it really is, what we eat and what we put in our bodies and the mind-body-spirit connection, all those things do go together. But if we don't love ourselves, we're not going to make better choices, right?
That's the absolute truth. Yeah, definitely. Taking care of your body and, loving yourself is the key to it all. That's the truth.
Yeah.
So,
and go ahead.
Deb, I just want to say, Deb, you are absolutely wonderful, and you're an amazing host, and I just love talking to you. It gives me great joy.
You too? I thought it was just me loving to talk to you. I'm always like at the end of the show, it's so funny because I met somebody in town and they were saying, "Oh, I love the show." And they said, I said, "I know, I always say that at the end, I always say I love the show. I hope all the listeners do too. So it's nice to see somebody in person who says, "Oh my gosh, I love the show." And she says to me, "Yeah, I know you say that at the end of every show. I hope everyone else loves it as much as me." Like, I know, but it's true. Which maybe is a testimony to do what I do. But, I just admire and respect people who can create something out of nothing. I mean, look what you've done with your books and your counseling and the Joy Train. And I'm so inspired by people that have that courage to look at things differently and flip things around and turn that green sky into blue. And when one person gets better, everybody around you gets better, and it's an unselfish thing. And I really feel like people are starving for what you have, Kari. And we need to. How can you possibly have a good relationship with somebody else if you don't have one with yourself first? You can't.
That's the truth. Yeah, that's the real truth. Yeah. Until you love yourself. Go ahead.
Yes. And I think that people don't understand the definition of what love is anymore. I think it's when, as we started the show with the difference between joy and happiness and what are those definitions, I think that, a lot of our fast-paced, drive-through, breakthrough, as Joyce Meyer would say, I think that we've forgotten, what is that self-love? What does that look like? What does that feel like? What does that taste like? And it involves that forgiveness of self and all of those things that you teach in your book and in your therapy and counseling. I think that we'll take one more quick comment, a call for Kari on 661-748. You are on the air live, 661.
Okay. Are you there?
What is your name?
Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
Hi.
Hi.
Jay. My name is Jay.
Oh, great. Nice to have you call in, Jay.
Thank you.
What can we do for you?
I've read both of your books. I think they're really wonderful and they've been really helpful for me.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
So
where are you calling from?
Australia.
Oh my
Australia!
God. Oh,
Yay!
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. Thank you so much for calling. So, do you have a question for us?
Yeah, I guess. Do you have any suggestions for? I guess I feel as though my heart has switched off, and and I work each day to try and make that better. And listening, obviously, to the blog radio that you guys do and reading books and stuff, but I'm quite socially isolated.
Right.
And actually, I'm thinking of walking away from my life, whether you think that might be a good idea. Because I don't know how else to change things.
What do you mean by walking away? Are you talking about moving, or are you? I hope you're not talking.
I'm talking about taking a really long walk with my dogs, just to see if I can find some answers.
Okay, but you're not talking about suicide, are you?
No, I'm not. No, I'm just talking about taking a walk in the bush with nature.
Yeah. Walking in nature is always a great idea. You want to be sure that you're safe, of course, and absolutely talking to whatever your spiritual connection is, or to your angels will help. But it's very important that you get in touch with where and what in your life made you shut off your heart. What are the things that hurt you deeply, where you shut off your heart? And like I said a little earlier on the show, if you go on my blog at kari-joys.com/blog, there is an article on there on journaling that will help you to get in touch with what is it that really hurts me still today, and how can I release that. So when I get done with the show, I'll go and put that up so that when you go to the blog, you can read it right away. But it's getting in touch with where you shut off your heart and doing some emotional healing to really release the pain from whatever that was. And when you start to release that pain, you will naturally bring your joy back. It's a natural process that happens. So I'm really sorry that I can't be there and help you work through it myself today. I would love to do that. But write me on my blog or on Twitter, and I'll be happy to respond.
Okay, thank you, Kari. It's wonderful what you guys are doing. It's really amazing.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's wonderful that you called in. I don't think it's an accident that you showed up. I think it's a promise for it. This is an answer to a prayer, because I do believe that if you showed up here, there's a reason for it. I've seen it so many times, and just the desire to seek with Kari, that ability to unlock, whatever shut your heart off, I think is a promise that it's definitely going to be open wide. And I'm so excited that you connected with us, and I'm looking forward to hearing about all the great things that are coming in your life, and I know Kari's going to help you. So connect with her. Are you on Twitter at all?
Yes, I am.
So
great.
Get with her at Kari Joys, Kari Joys, Joys, and I'm at Green Sky Deb. And I'm telling you, every Tuesday, you're part of the family now on the Joy Train. So I'm going to be looking for you. So make sure you say hello.
I will.
Thank
you.
So God bless you. Take care. Enjoy that. I do that with I find a lot of healing too. It's like if you talk about angels talking to you, seems to me that when I'm with my dogs outside in nature, I really do feel that I have that peace to be quiet. I mean, how can you hear when your mind is so cluttered?
Right, exactly. Yeah, nature is very healing. I love it too. Yeah.
Well, this has been an awesome show. We've gone over our time, and if I didn't get your call, I apologize. But, Kari, I love it. I feel better. I just love, love, love how this is coming into full bloom, and it's only begun. And it really is possible to have that peace that you seek. And you're an expert in this. You've helped thousands of people. You've done this yourself. You know that it's possible. You're sharing how to do it. And it's exploding, and I am honored to have had you on the show today and to be a small part of promoting your work. And let people know again how they can connect with you if they want to get the book, they want to join the LinkedIn group, or they want to hire you for some therapy sessions. Let them know how they can connect with you.
Yeah. Well, they can get the book at Amazon.com. Just type in Kari Joys, Karijoys, and all the books I've written will come up there. On Twitter, like we said, it's at Kari Joys, and LinkedIn, I can't remember. It's just LinkedIn /Kari Joys, I think. So you can go to my website at kari-joys.com, and there you can read a lot of my blog posts. You can see videos. You can write to me, whatever you would like to do. I love to help people find their joy. And the one thing that I want to say to all the listeners is, don't let anybody steal your joy. Joy is always available, and you can always open your heart and come back to the joy that's always in there. So thank you so much, Deb. You have just been amazing, and I really appreciate you having me on your show.
Oh, my goodness, Mutual Admiration Society, and all of the listeners, we all help each other along the way. And just on that beautiful note, don't let anybody steal your joy. And, it's so... Today is like, okay, draw the line in the sand and know that, the joy is right here, right now, in this moment. And we'll have you back. I'm sure that you'll be back sharing that shine again, because you've got so many great things going on.
Oh,
well, everybody,
thank you so much.
you're just terrific, and thanks for getting up early, because I know you're out there on the West Coast. Everybody, if you've enjoyed the show as much as I have, and I'm always saying that, you please share this show with a friend. I cannot bring you great guests like Kari if you're not out there promoting the show. We can't be having over 1 million listeners because of me. It's because of all of you out there. And if each person listening posted this show on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever you are, can you imagine how many seeds we can plant to grow joy, love, peace, and happiness. And, you never, ever know who's going to be there, seeing that simple tweet or that post on Facebook that needed that. You have no idea what an effect you could have. But if we don't put the seed in the soil, it can't grow. So I'm just asking everybody to share this show that Kari has. Be sure to connect with her. She is the real deal. I have personally experienced her tips and transformation from what she said. And, Albert Einstein, he always promoted, the mind that created the problem isn't going to solve it. We need to get new ideas from people that have new ways of thinking, being, and doing. And Kari Joys brings that to us in her books, in her work, in her blog. Once you can learn that new way of doing things, then you'll be experiencing that change and you'll really be finding joy. So thank you, everybody, for being with us. And Kari, lots of love. Lots and lots of love and blessings to you, my friend, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Best People We Know radio show with your host, Deb Scott. For more on Deb and her guests, plus her award-winning guidebook to transformation, The Sky is Green and the Grass is Blue, Turning Your Upside-Down World Right Side Up, go to Deb's website, greenskyandbluegrass.com. You can also connect with Deb for coaching or speaking and sign up for Deb's free Mind Vitamin newsletter while you're there. So now you're one step closer today to your greatness. We look forward to being with you next time on the Best People We Know radio show.